Welcome back to Bad Boy MTG. We have another baller on a budget deck tech video for that arse. 18 basic lands are going to consume this deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18. And there are upgrades to the deck. I'll explain that later. And then let's get into the magic of this magic deck. We have 4 Elvish Mystics. Backbone, basically, of any Elvish deck. We need to get our mana running quickly so we can get that turn 4 kill. Arbor Elves. We're going to be running 4 of those. All you do, tap it, add a forest to your mana pool. Same as Elvish Mystic. Then we have Arbor Elf, which basically acts the same as Arbor Elves or the Elvish Mystic. Untap target forest. Remember, you have a mana pool, so by untapping it, you just generate more mana, and you can use it. Now we get into what's going to make this deck some fun. Now, there's a lot of elf decks out there, but I noticed a few decks just don't have certain elements. They all kind of seem to be the very same exact kind of deck, but this one's a little different. Now, there's no surprise here with Dwynen's Elite. Am I even saying that right? Dwynen's Elite. For 2, when Mr. Elite enters the battlefield, if you control another elf, put a 1/1 Grief Elf Warrior creature token onto the battlefield. We're going to want to get some elves out, and we're going to want to get some elves out quick. And using Mr. Elite here is a way to do that, because we get 2 elves for the price of 1. Then we have Mr. Elvish Visionary. We need some card draw. And he's only 2-drop. When Elvish Visionary enters the battlefield, you draw a card. He's a 1/1. Need a little bit of card draw. Where you have more card draw coming up. Elvish Archdruid. One of the backbones to this deck as well. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. He takes only 3 to bring out. If you tap him, add a forest to your mana pool for each elf you control. That's going to be huge. Hopefully we can utilize this by like turn 3, turn 4, and we're going to have like 6 mana out. 1, 2, 3, 4 Elvish Archdruids. He's only running like $1.50 a pop right now. Maybe $2, somewhere around there. Imperious Perfect. I was debating on 2 or 3 of these, but I ended up putting 2 of these in here. It's 3 to bring out, Imperious Perfect. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. One of the reasons it's in the deck. Also, by tapping a forest and tapping Imperious Perfect herself. She is gorgeous, by the way. Put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token into play. It's a 2/2. That's big also, because we need something to generate some tokens maybe later on. It just comes in handy, especially if we have extra mana. We can just use it on Miss Imperious Perfect. We're running 2 of those in the deck. This is one of the reasons why the deck is a little more expensive. Azeri Renegade Leader. It's a 3-drop. Legendary creature, Elf Warrior. Amazing card. It's $5 a piece. I'm only running 2 of these. 1 forest, regenerate another target elf. 4/5. Elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. That is one win condition, absolutely. We are going to be running 2 Azeri Renegades. A second win condition is going to be Mr. Joraga, Warcaller. You know how many times I've called him Jorga? It is redunculous, let me tell you. Mr. Joraga, Warcaller, only takes 1 to bring out, but he's got a multi-kicker, and that's the other win condition. There is another one. Have no fear. Multi-kicker for deuce. You may pay an additional 2 any number of times as you cast this spell. So let's say on that turn 4, you're going to bring this out, and we already have 4 or 5 elves out. We bring out Joraga. When it enters the battlefield, Joraga Warcaller enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each time it was kicked. Let's say we kicked it 4 times. Other elf creatures you control, 4 is a bit high. Let's go with 2 or even 3. Let's go with 3. Let's do 2, just to keep it very basic. So it's going to be, you kick it twice, it's going to be a total of 5 mana to bring out. 1 for this, and then times 2 on the multi-kicker. That's going to be 5 total mana. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Joraga Warcaller. So he's going to come out already with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, giving the other elves additional +1/+1s. That's going to be pretty hard to stop, especially when we have cards such as Imperious Perfect, which gives elves +1/+1, and Elvish Archdruid, which gives elves +1/+1. So our elves are going to be pretty stacked, and they're going to have like 4 or 5, 6 creatures coming at them very quickly by turn 4. Lead the Stampede. This deck's going to get better, don't worry. There's some more excitement. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. We need to get elves out, and we need to get them out quick. So this is definitely going to help make that happen. It is a sorcery, but it is a great sorcery. They just reprinted it, actually, in Iconic Masters, and there's a symbol. Used to be an uncommon. Little did you know. We're running 4 of those. Elvish Promenade. I was debating on 1 or 2 of these. I decided to put 2 of them in here just because this card is so darn good. Elvish Promenade is 4 to bring out. It's a tribal sorcery elf. Put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token into play for each elf you control. That will be devastating. We're just going to sprinkle the whole freaking board. If we already have 4 or 5 elves out, now we have 10 elves out with the +1/+1s. But it gets better. We're running 2 Elvish Promenades. Overrun. I haven't seen anyone throw overruns in their elf deck. Why? Why would you not want to do that? It's so darn cheap, and it's a win condition. Overrun. For 5. Creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. That's huge. Turn 4, you throw this sucker down with 4 or 5 elves out, that's game over. Creature you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. Nature doesn't walk. It overruns. Oh, cool. Then we have Triumph of the Hordes. Another win condition. We're going to give our elves Infect. Make those suckers poisonous as all heck. Triumph of the Hordes. It only takes 4 to bring out. It's a sorcery. And this is a little more expensive. I think it's like $2.50, $3, maybe $3.50 even. I can't remember exactly. Until end of turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and infect. That's insane. Remember, it only takes 10 poison counters or infect counters to kill someone. They have half the life. They start at 10. They don't start at 20 like your normal life. They start at only 10. So by giving all of our elves trample and infect, they're going to have one mess to deal with. And, in fact, the damage is dealt in -1/-1 counters. So even if they can stop a lot of this, their creatures are going to be so beat up from that fight, and we're just going to come back out swinging again with more elves because we have ways to draw cards. Triumph of the Hordes, amazing card. Harmonize. I only threw 1 in here just for a little more card draw. It's a 4-drop, draw 3 cards. Very basic, very simple, very self-explanatory. Regal Force. It is a 7-drop. But, my goodness, we're going to empty our hand anyway by turn 4 or turn 5. Let's say that wasn't enough to kill him off. Well, you bring out this $1.50 Regal Force rare. Creature Elemental, when Regal Force enters the battlefield, draw a card for each green creature you control. At that point, we might have 6 creatures out. There's even certain times we can have 8 to 10 creatures out. This is going to come out and just replenish our entire hand. We're just going to be able to drop our entire hand all over again. That's insane. We're only running 1 of these Regal Forces. Now let me show you a little bit of the side deck, or sideboard, sorry. For our sideboard. You're going to catch them off guard with the Infect. So, I want you guys to have 2 of these Glistener Elves on the sideboard. Swap them out with whoever. It's just a 1-drop. Infect Elf. Let's say after that first game, he knows your strategy. He knows you got some Infect up in there. All right, so he's expecting that. Let's make it a little more toxic. Throw in 2 of these. I only have 1 here, but throw in 2 of them to your sideboard. We're running 3 Reclamation Sages, of course. Because we're in Modern, there's going to be some artifacts. And there'll be some enchantments, of course. It's 3 to bring out. When Reclamation Sage enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. By the way, the sideboard is not factored in to the main board for cost of the deck. This would be additional cost for all sideboard. That is pretty big, though. It's a 2/1. So we can easily bring out an elf and destroy an artifact or enchantment. This I wasn't so sure about, but I threw it in here for even more card draw ability. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. I always wanted to use this card somewhere. I know this is an elf deck and it's supposed to be a lot more speedy. So this is really up to you if you want to have it in the sideboard or not. But it is a pretty good card. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Takes 3 to bring out. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay 1 forest. If you do, draw a card. We're going to be dropping a lot of cards very rapidly in this. And if we have a little extra mana left over, we're going to have a lot more cards to be able to keep dropping. It's a pretty good little machine we got going there. Bow of Nylia. Attacking creatures you control have death touch. Let's just make those elves even more of a frickin' problem. Attacking creatures you control have death touch for 2. Tap it, choose 1, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Or Bow of Nylia deals 2 damage to target creature with flying. It's Nylia, bro. Nylia. Or you gain 3 life. Or put up to 4 target cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library in any order. What a card. Let's say you're dealing with a bunch of flyers. Windstorm deals X damage to each creature with flying. Another Harmonize threw up in here. Here's how you can make the deck a little more pricey. You can add a couple of these. Growing Rights of Itlimoc, we all know what it does. When Growing Rights of Itlimoc enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform Growing Rights of Itlimoc. What does it become? A Gaia's Cradle, more or less. Add a forest to your mana pool. Add a forest to your mana pool for each creature you control. That is devastating. We're going to have a crap ton of mana if we have this sucker in there. But of course, that would make you go way out of budget. That's why it's in the like sideboard and white sleeved. What else do we have, you may ask? A Carnage Tyrant. Why the heck do we have Carnage Tyrant in here? Because Carnage Tyrant is massive, and we're going to be able to drop him easily turn 4. Carnage Tyrant can't be countered. Trample, hexproof. Actually, possibly we can drop it turn 3 even. That's insane. Can you imagine a Carnage Tyrant out on turn 3, turn 4? Can't be countered. Trample and hexproof. Making this deck a whole lot more threatening. Maybe 1, maybe 2 you can throw in there. I would go with 1 though. Well guys, that's the deck tech. I really hope you enjoyed. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button because there's going to be more of these budget deck techs on the way. I'm trying to introduce different little strategies and fun ways to beat your opponent for cheap. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And also, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, peace, love, and be nice to a goat. Bye.